I am Geoffrey of Villehardouin. Welcome back to the time when men fought with pike in hand like men, and specifically to the Kingdom of Sweden campaign from the 1648 mod, a total conversion of medieval to Total War. Hakwin Königsmark, our ambassador to the Duke of Saxony, is now a master of diplomacy. An artillery arsenal has been completed in Stralsund, in addition to other construction elsewhere. We are at 84, the strength of Austria. The ups and downs in the strength of our kingdom are due to variations in war subsidies from our allies. It is the month of June 1629. The Polish general Joseph the Honest besieges Lübbau. Our general Blasius Tuholm's Braunfels defends the town and forces the Polish army to abandon the siege, taking also many prisoners.
By the grace of God, our foe is utterly vanquished. Let all who remember this day remember it as the day of our most glorious victory.
The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth will not ransom the prisoners, so they will be pressed into Swedish service. In the meantime, our king was marching into Saxony with the Yellow Regiment to relieve the siege of Lübbau when he was ambushed by an Imperialist army under the generals Michael Goes and Athalwolf Capone. The Austrian general Athalwolf Capone was captured early in the battle. The Imperialist army is unusually strong in musketeers. Unfortunately, our army has no cavalry except our king's Lifeguard. So our king's Lifeguard takes up cavalry duties and harries the enemy musketeers to distract them from the main battle.
Our men are winning the battle. If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
Some of their musketeers have been routed. More are being routed now. Some more of the enemy musketeers are at a distance here, and our pikemen are now marching against them. Our king continues to harass the enemy musketeers so they don't fire at our advancing lines. You can see them in the distance, our men advancing.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Here they are. And now the enemy is about to be engaged in melee, and once engaged in melee, the battle will turn decidedly in our favor. So the enemy is practically broken. Here is an enemy pike company still holding, and they are being now pressed on the flanks as well, and they begin to rout. They are routed. So our king risked his life but won a decisive victory. The enemy is now weakened, and they will not have enough men to pursue the siege of Lübbau. Lübbau is the last remaining settlement for our ally, the Duchy of Saxony, and it was being besieged by Austrian armies. So victory.
The enemy army flees the field. Pursue and run them down.
Victory this day. Our king has triumphed. Here's the last enemy general, Michael goes.
This is a clear victory that goes to only men of great virtue and valor.
He has been killed by a musket bullet, so victory is ours. We only lost 314 men. We destroyed the Imperialist army. Our king's lifeguard suffered 22 casualties but killed 177 men and took another 241 men prisoner. Victory this day. Our king has triumphed. Our enemy refused to ransom the prisoners, so they were pressed into Swedish service. After the risks our king faced, his retinue was expanded by the addition of a dread knight and a notorious berserker. So let us now take a look at the situation in Saxony. We have already seen our king marching with the Yellow Brigade to relieve Lübbau. There are already 5 additional Swedish armies in Saxony. John Marquis and Robert Monroe are sailing down the Elbe with the Scottish Brigade. Johann Casimir von Egmont and Johann von Östergötland are in Torgau with the Red Regiment and the garrison. Johann Casimir von Wellen is in Dessau. Jons von Brandenburg-Küstrin is in Köthen with some companies of the Blue Brigade and White Brigade and some artillery. Joachim Frederick von Bingencourt is at Zerbst with the rest of the Blue Brigade, and Adam von Fass-Zimmern is in Herzberg with some mercenaries. Gustav Adolf has marched to the relief of Lübbau after his victory over the Imperialists. All the armies of the Duchy of Saxony have been assembled to defend the city, which is being besieged by an Imperialist army. Still, the Imperialists are now outnumbered, however. The city has been saved, and with it Saxony our ally, as this was their last remaining settlement. Our ambassador, Hackvist Königsmark, asks for military access so that our king can march westward through Saxony to join up with the armies around Dessau and Torgau. Saxony agrees in exchange for financial and military aid. Our state income has exceeded 60,000 gulden in June 1629. Our general Johann Casimir von Wellen is married in Dessau to Anna Horn. Stralsund gains a Remontierungsamt, an office for the training of war horses. The Duchy of Württemberg, having made peace with Bavaria, now goes to war with the Protestant Union. This is a very inconvenient decision, but we are forced to take the side of Württemberg since the Protestant Union is no longer providing war subsidies. Unfortunately, the Margraviate of Baden-Durlach sides with the Protestant Union instead, causing further rifts in our Grand Alliance. More new buildings. It is now the July of 1629. We are the second strongest faction, almost as strong as the Kaiser. A minor rebellion near Elbing is quashed by Reinhold Anrep. The rebel leader, Captain Jens, is slain. There is a tense face-off between the Archbishopric of Trier and the Kingdom of France at Saarbrücken, currently in the hands of Trier. Another rebellion is quashed near Kolberg in Prussia. Edicts of toleration are issued in all cities as our kingdom expands. Gabriel Hansdotter attacks Johann Albert Wasa, a Polish prince, in Lissa. The enemy general is slain and Lissa is taken. The rifts in our alliance are multiplying. the state of the Netherlands, goes to war with Hesse over some trivial border incident. We side with our loyal German ally, Hesse, displeased in Utrecht. An inn is completed in Stettin, a beautiful half-timbered house with a stuffed boar's head on the door. It is already September of 1629, and our strength now stands at 76%, that of Austria. Joachim Killstrom and Gabriel Hansdotter besiege and capture Wöhlau from the Imperialists. Moritz Pensen von Ecksadt attacks 3 small Polish armies outside Kulm. Although small, the Polish armies are of good quality. The first has reformed cuirassiers and experienced post-reform pikemen. The second army has 4 troops of post-reform cuirassiers with triple silver chevrons, and the third army has experienced post-reform musketeers and pikemen. We have less quality, but greater numbers. The first enemy general, Captain Bez Prin, is slain, and so is Captain Adrian and Captain Radzim. The leaderless Polish units are then routed with considerable casualties on our side, which is what usually happens in open battles when the AI has superior units. Our pikemen and halberdiers especially suffered high casualties, but thanks to our arquebusiers and the musketeers, victory was eventually ours. Arvid Christian Salvius defeated a strong rebel force under Captain Joost near Elbing, losing only 31 men. Captain Ericus was ambushed by some rebels near Lübeck, but defeated them. More raiding by the Turks on the borders of the empire. Baroque clothing for the middle classes and aristocracy was dominated by black, the color of Christian piety and devotion. Following our embassies to Hesse and Utrecht, hostilities between them have ceased. A naval arsenal is built in Sassnitz. A Protestant community is established in Wöhlau, whose star fort has been repaired. We are the largest, most populous kingdom, and in October the strength is 80% that of the Kaiser. A plague breaks out, afflicting Deutsche Krone. Our general, Johann Casimir von Wellen, is ambushed by 2 Austrian generals near Lübbau, where our king has taken quarters with the Yellow Regiment. The Saxon prince Rudolf was nearby and hastens to the sound of the fight. The Austrian general Sigismund Wasa is slain even before Prince Rudolf arrived. The arrival of a second Saxon army under Anselm von Kalkstein decidedly turns the odds in our favor. It is not even much of a contest
This
anymore.
is a clear victory that goes to only men of great virtue and valor.
So we have gained an easy victory against the 2 enemy generals, losing just 3 men. While the Imperialist armies have barricaded themselves in the forts of Upper Saxony, Albrecht Wallenstein is campaigning in Braunschweig, here besieging Mühlhausen. We re-establish an alliance with Utrecht. It is now November of 1629. The Polish king, Sigismund Wasa the Malevolent, besieges Lissa, that is being defended by Gabriel Hansdotter. Johan Banner comes over with a relief force. A battle of giants is about to begin. The Polish army moves to the side where Johan Baner has deployed his relief force. They come under fire from the garrison manning the walls on that side. The Poles abandon the ladders and retreat to reform. Johan Banner has brought with him a falconet battery and a sacred battery and harasses the Polish army from a distance. The Poles here retreat to reform, and once they have reformed, they will launch a second attack. Johan Banner here has prepared to receive their attack. So now the Poles are coming back. Johan Banner has moved slightly forward. The Poles are now being fired at both from Johan Banner's army and from the garrison that is manning the walls. The Polish double-handers here are being attacked from both sides and have been routed. The Poles send their winged hussars forward. They are intercepted by Johan Banner's pikemen, and a melee ensues between Johan Banner's pikemen and the winged hussars. And here our general attacks the winged hussars on the flank, and the hussars break and are routed. Here's the garrison firing from the walls. The enemy continues their attacks, but their attacks are now exhausted. The enemy musketeers are firing from the distance, but they are under fire from our artillery. They are being hit by round shots from our side. For some reason, sometimes the musketeers controlled by the AI get stalled, as in here, especially after they come under fire. So they stand there doing nothing. Almost nobody is firing. Our cavalry approaches them from the rear, forcing them to retreat. They break, they run. We have winged hussars mysteriously also on our side, so our own winged hussars now harass the enemy. They are collecting prisoners as the enemy begins to rout. And our general Johan Banner once again has joined the fray.
This is a clear victory that goes to only men of great virtue and valor.
So once again a clear victory with minimal casualties, a brilliant defense by Johan Banner and Hansdotter. The enemy king survives the battle, but his army has been destroyed. The captured prisoners are offered for ransom. The ransom is accepted by the Polish king. And Gabriel Hansdotter has gained command rank. Following which a second battle takes place in Poland. We are now attacking Kulm with two armies. Kulm has a strong garrison with no fewer than 5 companies of Junkers, so this is likely to be a very tough contest.
Show no mercy! Kill them all!
So here's one of our armies. It is being deployed in the Swedish formation, and Captain Axel is coming to our aid with another strong force. You can see his units arriving. That's the army of Captain Axel here. We're enforcing our alliance. They're being deployed on the right. And here's the garrison of Kulm, they are sallying out with their massive numbers of cavalry. There are masses of cavalry. Here are some arquebusiers, and here are 5 troops of Junkers. This promises to be a very tough contest. The weakness of the Polish armies, if you could call it that, is that they have very few pikemen, but they have plenty of musketeers. However, the musketeers here are skirmishing ineffectively. They are being flanked by our arquebusiers, and they move around purposelessly instead of firing back. They're also being hit by our artillery, and our arquebusiers have forced them to clump up in a small space, and so they have become a prime target for our cannon and our mortars. And some of them begin to rout. Several companies of enemy musketeers have bunched up in a small space as they're being harassed by our arquebusiers, and more mortar fire hits their lines. And not only that, but most of these men have no field of fire. They have no view of the enemy. They cannot fire their muskets. A barrage of mortar fire is destroying the enemy musketeers. So the enemy cavalry decides to take matters in their hands. They charge our Swedish formation, and our pikemen move forward to defend the musketeers. And finally a hand-to-hand combat begins. Our grenadiers here have routed the enemy cavalry, but more cavalry comes up, including, of course, the magnificent Junkers.
Tidings, the enemy general lies dead. We've sent the base cur to hell.
Our pikemen trying to attack their flank. The Junkers seeing our pikemen on their flank, they are unsettled. They seem to be falling back. The enemy general here has been slain, and that has caused the enemy to lose morale, and they are falling back, and now the lines are in confusion as the enemy cavalry is spreading panic among our men. Some of our musketeers are caught in a melee with the Junkers here. More Junkers charge our musketeers before our pikemen could respond, but our pikemen charge them in the flank, and our general charges them up front. The Junkers are now being hard pressed. More of our men come to the aid of our general, and the Junkers are now wavering. There is an utter confusion in our lines. Our lines are broken, and there is smoke making.
Our local allies have lost their leader. Without their general, they may lose heart and flee.
The battlefield invisible at times. A terrible melee. More enemy Junkers attack our lines. They attack our musketeers here, who take out their swords. The pikemen come to their aid. The grenadiers attack the enemy Junkers. The enemy Junkers finally have been encircled, and they are now fighting to the death.
Behold how our cowardly foe runs. It's time to press the attack.
And another enemy general has been slain.
The battle is very much in our favor. If we remain true and steadfast, victory will be ours.
And now the enemy is on the back foot. Their last few units are making a desperate last stand.
Our cowardly foe runs. It's time to press the attack.
An enemy company of pikemen is being shot to death from the distance by our musketeers, and that was another glorious victory.
The enemy are utterly vanquished. This is a great victory worthy of only the mightiest of generals.
The field is ours, but at a cost. We lost many good men. Our arquebusiers had a field day, killing 250 men and taking another 392 prisoners. The prisoners were not ransomed. Instead, Moritz Pensen von Ecksadt marched victorious into Kulm, gaining also command rank.
We shall slaughter them, my lord. Such is the fate of all who oppose us. The settlement has fallen. Take the spoils of war.
December comes, with the state income now at 75,000 gulden. We are the largest faction. To build better roads is very useful, and so is a Protestant community in Kulm. At last, the Protestant Union goes to war with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. A minor rebellion of Polish residents of Sweden is quashed with almost no casualties. It makes it look more like an anti-Catholic pogrom. Another one of our diplomats is now a master of diplomacy. Wallenstein has taken Weimar and has camped there with a very large army, as the poet Andreas Gryphius sheds tears for his fatherland. So now we are destroyed utterly, more than utterly, the gang of shameless peoples, the maddening music of war, the sword fat with blood, the thundering of the guns have consumed our sweat and toil in a war in which even souls are lost.